beast. What you need to know is the human has a tendency to mask or hide the truth that lies within. You have been given the ability to see love, peace, and happiness all around you. It simply comes down to the eyes that you wish to see with. The ability to see with clear eyes is up to the individual. As the heart clears falsehoods and misbeliefs, the eyes become more clear. As the eyes become more clear, the memories of love, beauty, and happiness become more ingrained in the brain. As this happens, the longing for the feeling of peace, love, and happiness become more prevalent. And what we want you to know at this time is that you all have the ability to see with your heart, to see with clarity, with the understanding of all that is. And as you sit still at this time, they're telling me, as you sit still, that's my southern accent coming out, as you sit still and you begin to feel your heart, we ask you to do this now. Close your eyes. And feel your heart. Feel the space around the heart. Feel your heartbeat. Feel that heartbeat reverberate into the light of love. And what I'm seeing is that with every heartbeat, with every pulse, there's a light wave or a vibration that comes out. And allow that pulse to go through your entire body. With every heartbeat, there is a pulse. And with every ring of vibration, that is recalibrating the cells within your being, you'll begin to recognize that you are falling into a sense of peace. As this peace prevails throughout your body, you find that your mind is clearing. There becomes less and less thoughts and fewer memories. And as you go back into your heart, recognize one true event that caused you happiness, caused your heart to flutter, allowed you to have the freedom of true happiness. Recognize the feeling and what is shifting in the way your heart is feeling. Is it beating faster? Is it slowing down? Is it skipping a beat? Is it beating double twice? How is it feeling? And as you begin to recognize this feeling, your body becomes at peace. As it is hard to remember the past, remember this feeling. You do not want to remember anything else at this point. We want to recognize, or want you to recognize, the truth that lies within your own being. And as you feel this openness, spaciousness, lack of constrictions, you recognize that this is what peace and happiness feels like. And at this time, we wish for you to just sit still for one moment and recapture this feeling. As you begin to move forward, you're being given the gift of removal of what ails you. And as we speak to you, you are gaining truth, and you're letting go of the resistance and the falsities. And as we allow you to do so, you'll become more at peace in the days to come. Recognize this at this time, and we will now move forward. Okay, make sure your feet are good on the ground and you can feel them. Take a deep breath. Let it out. And make sure that you recognize that you are in the room and you can feel all of your body parts. Feet, hands, neck, forehead, chest. And you can again open your eyes and you'll be present.
Did we lose somebody?
No, not yet. Maybe just me. I'm bringing myself back. What we want you to know is that the times in your life that you have had that were the happiest of all remain within your being. As the statement was simply read, it is the truth. The truth and the facts lie within your own personal body. And as we move forward into the future, you will soon begin to recognize that those times when you felt the most content, at peace, and happy, and they're wanting to make sure that you know that you don't have to be happy all the time. When you're at peace, you're content, and you're not necessarily, oh wow, this is the greatest time ever. You know, it's just that point of feeling good within yourself. You're at peace and you're calm, or you're excited and elated. It doesn't really matter what it is, but you don't have to be excited and elated all the time. This is also the sense of being at peace and calmness. And this is a state of happiness that we choose to give to you. As you move forward into the future, you're going to recognize that there'll be some shifts and changes within you. You will see that you no longer struggle in order to hold on to the sense of peace or calmness that resides within you. It'll begin to evolve within your being as you let go of the heartache and the pain. And what I'm feeling right now is just like the knot in your stomach, that thing that just always stays tight in your stomach. And as you begin to recognize that you no longer want to hold on to that feeling, and you raise that up into your heart, and you feel the heart space that is open and calm and joyful, you begin to feel that feeling reverberating through your body, just as we just experienced. Once you become accustomed to that feeling in the heart, it radiates throughout the being, and it will become a natural feeling for you. You will no longer hold on to the pain or the discomfort or what the mind creates to be uncomfortable for you. You will grasp, and you will find that your mind goes back into that heart space to find that comforting feeling, and that chitter chatter that goes on in your head will no longer be. This is what we want for you. We want you to all recognize that your heart is where you must reside, and the peacefulness of the heart. As we have talked in the past, You remember conversations about the damage to the heart that has been done. And as you begin to continue with the ritual of simply finding your heart and finding that place of peace, you will find that the heart is no longer constricted. You'll find that those feelings of heartache of the past or those damages that have been done will no longer be. You'll recognize that those damaged places will soon heal and the heart will become whole again. It'll all be one. And this is what we want for you. We are asking you to recognize that this is what's happening and transpiring within your body at this very moment. And you can continue to do so if you choose. And this is what we want for you. Okay, is there any questions? Any questions about what they want done? Okay, we're all good? Okay. You know you have the objective of clearing the heart in order to see what the body longs for. As you notice the fears, mismemories, hurt or pain are all alleviated. The good memories and the present moment become more clear. This is what we want for you. You can have clarity and insightfulness but still not see with clear eyes. Why is this? The simple fact of allowing yourself to be free from constraints and restrictions that cause misbeliefs. For example, guilt of being happy, guilt of no longer believing in thought patterns that the mind has been accustomed to believing. What we want you to do is allow freedom to take root. We want you to allow the memories of past happiness to come to the surface. As you do this, allow yourself to embrace the feeling of peace, love, and happiness. As you do this more and more, you find the past belief system will begin to fail. Make a conscious effort in recognizing peace, love, and happiness are a place you would like to reside and no longer stay in the altered form of emotional staleness. Okay, so I think that's kind of what they said before I read that. Is that what you guys got? Because that's kind of what I'm getting. That the more that you stay in your heart space, the more that all the misbeliefs. And remember, we go back to the conversation that we had last week about the ego and that how our mind has a way of twisting things around and that we can make a normal situation or a neutral situation into a bad situation and then we hold on to that. The more that you stay in your heart space, it's staying in the space of the spirit, the true and authentic self. And so as you reside within this space, the more and more that you become accustomed to being in this, that's how everything leaves. Because you're letting go of that ego, you're letting go of that pride, and you're letting go of those misbeliefs. And so as those beliefs go away, the more truth comes forward. And a lot of that stuff becomes irrelevant and it's gone forever and it's never thought of again. You look like you're thinking, JP. Do you have a question? Comment? Nothing? Are you sure? Okay. Because you can talk if you want to. Okay. What we want you to know is that there's more mismemories than you choose to believe. There's many thoughts and beliefs that you had as a child, for example. When you go back and you remember a situation, even as a child, that you may have interpreted as something that was hurtful for you, recognize that as a child you may not have perceived the entire situation. There may be things that were transpiring that were, and I'm seeing like a mother and a father talking, or there's a situation. Okay, divorce. Okay, so look at the situation as a divorce. So as a child, when parents tell the child, okay, we're no longer going to be living together and your life is going to be disrupted and separated, the child only sees that moment. Your memories are only of that moment when you're being told what was happening or transpiring. And what you fail to recognize is that there was love and caring for you at that moment. and that you don't understand the entire picture as of what was happening between the two parents to make them come to the decision for this to be happening. And so it can be easily misunderstood for a child that this was something that they did or that they caused because of not understanding or knowing what all has transpired. And they may not ever know, or they may. But what we want you to recognize is if this specific situation has ever happened to you or something similar, just recognize that under these circumstances, the truth is not always revealed. But what you hold as truth is only what your perception is, and you fail to recognize the whole story. So as you stand in your heart and you see that there is true love that resides within you, you begin to alter the picture of the perception that you received at that moment. And as you begin to open your eyes so that they see a little bit differently than what they did at that time, you begin to see the situation a little bit more lovingly than what you may have. For example, the parents may not have handled the situation as in the best way, and they may not have had true emotions for all extents. But what you do know is that you were loved. You were loved in one way, shape, or form. And that if you did not feel that the parents or the adults in the room loved you, you know that God loves you. And what God's presence is within your being creates the resonance. Okay. It creates the resonance that is reverberating through your being to where you see more with loving eyes and more with loving feelings than what you did in the past. And this is where the cellular change is coming in. So there's been a big deal the last couple of weeks about how the cells in our bodies are changing. And is everybody in the room kind of familiar with changing from the third dimension to the fifth dimension, and that our cellular activity is going to be changing as well? Is anybody okay?
What happened to the fourth?
Well, it was a jump. Calliope's jump. It's a jump to the fifth.
Sounds like a good jump. But...
It is. It's all good. It's all good. So let's explain the cellular change. Okay, so what we want you to know is that what the Earth is creating is a higher vibrational commonness throughout the universe. What we are doing as your guides and supporters of all that is simply creating the energetic vibration to apparently reverberate is the word of the night. Reverberate through all. So the higher level of vibration is what creates a higher conscious in a being. So what is transpiring is that as the Earth is shifting into a newer level of consciousness, everything is changing. So everything is beginning to vibrate faster. And we all understand that, okay? Does everybody understand that everything that is has a vibration? Everything has a vibration. Piece of dirt, rock, that piece of metal over there, everything in existence has some form of vibration. And so what's happening is that if the vibration's going like this, it's going to be increased to this. Okay, so what we want you to know is that the highest beings in existence vibrate at the highest level of consciousness. And so as your vibration increases, your level of intuitiveness and assuredly the godliness that lies within all comes to the surface. And what I'm seeing is like, okay, so there's this little being of God's creation right here, that spirit of us or light. And so as we begin to vibrate at a faster pace, this little soul, this little spirit, this little thing that's deep within you is vibrating to where it's making it grow, and it's getting bigger and bigger. And as we were talking about the heart and feeling as the heart beats, I was seeing those rings coming around. Well, each one of those rings is a vibrational ring. And as it fills the space, it starts getting bigger and bigger, like a ring in water. You know, like if you throw a rock in water, it creates the ripples. So it's the ripple effect that's coming through you. And as you allow that faster or higher vibration to go through you, reverberate through you, the higher your consciousness level will become. And so what we're trying to explain to you is that not only is this in pictures or in simple words, what we're saying is that the cells in your body will begin changing because they're vibrating at a different level as well. So what the common cell is doing is that everything within the being is creating a ripple effect to vibrate at a higher level of consciousness. So as we're speaking about this, not only is your surroundings vibrating at the higher level of consciousness, it begins within your heart, and all of the cells, and what I'm seeing is like if you look at a live heart, you know that it's encompassed. It has skin around it. It has that fascia or the muscle and everything is around it. All the cells that are within that, everything, we all know that it's all made up of cells, are beginning to vibrate at a faster and faster level. And so as all of this begins to vibrate as a faster and faster level, it brings the spiritual consciousness up to that level that resides within that space. Okay, so we want to make clear that you understand that that spirit, the soul that resides within you, is in that same space as the heart. So as we're talking about the heart, we want the heart to vibrate at a faster magnitude because it affects the spirit. The spirit affects the body. The spirit affects everything that is within and then it radiates around and out of us. So as this vibration begins to increase and cause the shifts and the changes within the brain and the cellular activity that's within the brain, everything is changing to vibrate at a higher level of consciousness. So it, as anything that is of damage or of the darkness or less than that vibration will dissipate or be alleviated from the body. And this is why it's so important to be able to focus and recognize that all of your beliefs may not be correct or for your highest good. And so as you begin to recognize that in this heart space, there's only love and happiness. There's only that peace. There's only good that resides within here. And the more that you focus on that and recognize that and your vibration begins to increase and everything is vibrating faster, everything starts going away that's no longer needed. And this is how we're shifting to the fifth dimension. This is how we as humans are changing. Everything is changing within us to make us be able to stand and withstand the higher vibration that is coming into the atmosphere and that's encircling us. This is talking about the air vibration. I mean, literally when we talk about what surrounds us, that vibration is increasing to that level of consciousness. And so we as humans are working into that space where that we can exist there with wholly and contently and truly at peace within all. Okay? So, go ahead, Zara.
What's the best way to handle it when things come up that are difficult? Especially when you don't know what they are. Like you mentioned divorce, that's a situation where the person would know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But when it's like just maybe a past life thing and you don't quite know what's going on, or you see bits and pieces of things, or what's the best way to handle it? You know it's difficult, but and stuff is coming up.
We're asking you to stand in your heart space once again. It's if you have a memory or something that is unsure to you or questionable, bring your attention into this heart space and focus on what it feels like at that time. Okay, we're not asking you to relive that memory. You don't have to recall it. You don't have to bring it back. You don't even have to know what it is. But if there's some kind of an uncomfortable feeling, like you're going...
It's the feelings I'm talking about.
Yeah. So if you're feeling that uncomfortable feeling, go straight to your heart. Go to your heart and ask, what is this? And I wish to release it. And as you feel that, you're going to feel your heart to start beating faster and it within relevance to the consciousness that you need to obtain at that time. And as your heart begins to beat and it begins to create the vibration that is shifting within you, you will alleviate that memory, that thought. Okay, does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Okay, and they're saying, now, don't think that this is going to happen the first time. It's not going to happen just like that, because you have to train yourself to be able to focus on this area. But what I'm seeing as well is that it's not only focusing just on your heart and your heartbeat, it's recognizing that there's a light around it. You have to recognize that your soul resides within it. So it's like, here's your heart and there's your soul. They reside as one. So when you look through your heart, you see your soul, and that light behind your soul is what's radiating around that heart, so that it all becomes one. It's one big, massive ball of love.
Okay.
I always think of the heart center, the energy around the heart is divine. It's my
Exactly
direct
right.
connection,
Yeah,
direct to
Exactly.
divine.
you got it. That's what we're saying. That's what they're saying. Yeah, but that's exactly it. And that if you don't recognize that this whole space is that divine, then you're not going to recognize what the vibration is that's around it. Does that make sense? If you look at your heart as just that beating object that makes your blood pump, then it just becomes an object. But when you truly feel and know that you are much greater than just this mechanical being, that there is a spirit that resides within you, and that's where it is, and you connect with that heart is that spirit. It's the life of the spirit. It's that beating that is the vibration and the creation of that source. And so when you begin to do this, when you begin to say, oh my gosh, okay, I'm feeling really weird, this is a bad thought that's coming in, okay, sit still, take a deep breath, and just focus on the space. And as you focus on the space, just begin to recognize that there's light there and there's a heartbeat there. And the more that you focus on that, you're going to recognize that whatever's detracting you or distracting you will begin to fade. Do not go back and look for it. Don't say, oh, that weird thing, that just faded. Where did it go? Wait, I want it back. I want to try this again. No, just let it go, okay? Don't call it back. You don't want to hold on to it. You just want to let it go. And don't question how it happened. You don't need to know. You don't need to know what it is. You don't need to know what it was. Just let it go. And what the past beliefs are is that you must relive those hurts. Now, they're saying with psychology and the way that humans have created the psyche of the human mind, you always want to relive the hurts in your life. We're not asking you to do this. You don't need to do this. It's not necessary. What you do want to do is just to be able to recognize that something feels uncomfortable, recognize where to go to find the light of God, the creation, all that is. Stand in that moment and allow all to dissipate. And when you can do that, you're going to find, at least in that moment, that you're at a sense of peace again.
Okay.
Does that help?
Yes.
I'm glad you asked that question. Good one.
Can I share a technique that I use?
Yes.
It's absolutely amazing.
Mm-hmm.
The heart, just keeping in mind, the heart is directly connected to the mind. And it knows that it has 40,000 different cells, which is the same cells as the brain. So it can form memories, it can remember. So the heart is extremely significant within our body. If you don't know, and sometimes we run across this in life, you get, say, medical. Doctors are telling you one thing, your friends are telling you to do it naturally, and you're just lost. And you can do it with anything, kind of like a pendulum right here. But focus on that heart center and feel it. Pull yourself out of the mind. Ask your heart. Before you finish your sentence, you will have a definite yes or no. And it will never lie to you, and it's always precise. It's amazing.
Well,
Try it.
There is a saying, the heart knows. The heart knows.
The heart knows, and it will answer you. I mean, you're thinking it, and it's answering you, and it's loud. I've done it many. I would, it's fun.
Okay.
Think of it as a game. Just play with it.
Yeah.
It's amazing, and that's us.
So is there any questions about the cellular connection to the change of the divine? Did we make it clear enough?
Say that again.
I don't know.
I have questions, like, when did this start and what kind of cellular change is it? I mean, are we gonna change physical form or?
There'll be a slight change in your physical being, as there will be shifts and changes in your muscular cellular content. So, for example, you may feel the urge that you need to exercise more or gain strength. There'll be shifts in your eating habits, and there'll be shifts in your strength. You may go through a weakness before you get stronger again. So you may feel depleted or tired, but then as the body begins to shift and the cells take hold, you'll find that you have more energy and that your eating will change, your habits will change, and that you'll become stronger. You will sleep differently. You will act differently. Your perceptions will be different, and your speech will even be different, because you'll be using different words and different language, different tones of voice. Everything will be changing.
You just described me over the last year.
Yes, ma'am.
So, I mean,
It's been going on
and
for
I
a while.
noticed it, just a huge awakening over the last year.
And
Is
how
this-
many of your friends have you noticed the same thing happen to?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It was a lot.
Yeah, lots been going on in the last few years.
A lot.
Yeah. The biggest and most significant change has started in the last 5 years. 2012 was the beginning of the shift, and as time has moved on, more and more have become more receptive to the information that we're providing as you all sit here in your presence. You'll begin to recognize that you have seen these changes within your own being, and those that you know, you have seen the changes in. You have seen the changes in one extreme to the other, where you have seen the extreme worst, the anxiousness, not necessarily in you, but in the environment, the anger, the hatred, the violence. And then you go to the opposite end of the spectrum, to where we're all sitting in peace and everything has changed the opposite way. This is the division that's occurring as we speak. And I've talked about this before. I'm they're saying quit arguing, just say it. The division is happening, and it's become paramount over the last 2 to 3 years, that the dividing between the higher vibration and the lower vibration, it's dividing, and it's separating, so that half of the people they're not necessarily half, but part of the people that are choosing not to move forward and not gaining the information that you are, or resisting, are staying over here in the darkness. But those that are becoming curious and want to know what's available and stand in that light are shifting this way. They're shifting towards the light way. And so you'll notice those differences of how people are changing around you. And it all has to do with what's happening, and the cellular activity that is growing within all. Okay, do we need to go there? Okay, you need to say that the souls that are in each individual are igniting. They're wanting to become whole. They have been living in a dim place at a distance for centuries, for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. Individuals have not recognized who they truly are. And this is like 10,000 years. People have been living a life that is not true to their personal being. And so this is a big shift for human consciousness, as they are not aware and may not completely be ready to change the way that they've been living for so long. And so what's happened is that DNA, those thought processes, that cellular belief in
Imprints.
and everything that goes, that has been going on for thousands and thousands and thousands of years are all ingrained in us. And so what's happening is that everything is getting undone. And that's how the cellular memory is changing, and that's why it's changing. Because all of our helpers up above us are guiding us into that place to where you can be whole again. And that you can truly live the life of who you're meant to be and not who you were created to be. And that's kind of like what we talked about the last time when we were talking about the ego, is that how the ego has created us to become a certain way. And that how this shift to this new dimension is helping to let go of those memories and those thoughts and those beliefs in order that we can become whole again and become who we are meant to be. So as the cellular changes, you're going to feel tingling in your body, you'll feel dizziness, you'll feel sometimes rim spinning. I feel a lot, like with my heart, I feel the energy going around me, I feel it going this way, I feel rings going around me. There's that energy that you become more aware of when you become more aware of feeling that space in your heart. And this is what's changing. And as you become more aware of that field that's around you, everything that's within you is changing. And that's where we're going. That's where it all begins. But it all begins from the spirit and what's in here, and letting it open up and grow so that we can be open to receiving that love and that higher vibrational frequency that's going to be changing us.
Is outright illness part of the cellular process?
It can cause changes to where your body is having to shift and adjust to a new way of thinking, that you may feel sick. I'm getting like you may be sick to your stomach. Sometimes there may be changes within. They're saying, like with me, when I feel energy coming in, I break out in a sweat. It's like a hot flash. There's different things. You may lose your hair because there's the cellular change may cause your hair to change texture. It may be losing. I did not know that. Thank you for bringing that up. Your skin may change as you may be getting like dry places, because what's happening is that it's almost like the shedding of the skin, and so it's like regenerating and redoing. So there may be some changes. You may like discolorations in your skin, or dry patches, or something may be different that way.
Less wrinkles?
Or more wrinkles?
we want less. Which it is, because basically what's happening is that your body is becoming younger again. It is backing up. It's reversing the aging process. And so that you'll see people that look different to you. People that have not gone through this shift and are residing at the lower frequencies, you'll see will be more haggard. Like within their face, they'll look more worn, tired, lines, dehydrated. They'll look different than people that are truly standing within their true being. So now, as far as cancer or something like that, no, what is actually happening is something that is severe as that, is that they're altering the cellular activity within the being to where cells and so the cells are regenerating in order to make a healthier body. So you may go into a detox mode, where you may not be feeling well because you're detoxing.
Well, so along those lines, what about, like, if the idea is the cells are vibrating at a faster rate, I wonder if they would be shaking off, old stuff. Like, if you are, like, is it possible for old illnesses to come back for the purpose of being shaken out?
It won't. They won't come back. They'll just dissipate. They just
Okay.
it all just dissipates. Okay.
Okay.
That's what they tell me anyway. If there's a reoccurrence of an old disease or an old illness, it simply means that you are not ready to move on yet, and that's still in your system. Okay. And some people aren't. They may live with that disease for whatever their purpose is, whatever their reason is, whatever it is that they're on earth for. It may be their journey.
Okay.
Okay. So if you feel like that there's something that may be happening within you okay, so I think that you've said enough. Can I bring up your cancer?
Sure.
Okay, so Kathy has breast cancer. And what they said, I'm going to start crying. It's meant to be. You have to do it. You have to go through it.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not the fact that you are vibrating at a lesser level than any others. You are changing, and what happened is that's something that needs to be cleared and cleaned out of your system. And it's come to the surface. And that is something, and it's your journey, and there's other lessons that you're going to be learning from this, and that you're going to be doing with the experience that you have from this. And so don't look at this as a falsehood,
Right.
or what I'm saying is that like your body didn't function correctly, that it broke down. That's not the case. It's not what happened. It was specifically meant for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
I
what
kind
are
of
you
got
gonna-
a clue that it was.
Yeah. What you gonna do with it, girl? I can't wait to see what happens.
I know. It's going to be
Yeah.
an exciting journey.
Yeah,
That's why I
it
got my
is.
journal.
It is. It's all good. It's all good. So if that kind of helps, Zara, does that help you just a little bit?
Yeah.
So some people may have their own specific journey that they have to go on. So it may not be the same for everybody. But in general, this is what's happening. So because the vibration, when the more purity, the faster the vibration and the higher the vibrational frequency is, the more pure that something becomes. And it can't get diseases because it's vibrating at such a rate that it won't allow it to happen. Okay? If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So anything that, and they're going, because like that's what the situation is like with past memories. Why you don't have to relive the past. You don't have to go into and say, now what happened specifically at this time? Because as everything is shifting and changing, all of those memories are dissipating. They're just simply like evaporating. Going, what I used to see, about 2 years ago it started with me, is that I would start seeing like these black particles just lifting out of my arm. And it was just stuff that was releasing and going away. And yes, I was freaking out when I was driving down the road and I was going, oh my God, what is this? Yeah. But it was stuff, that it was just releasing. And it was stuff that I didn't have to hold on to. I didn't have to relive. I didn't have to go back to. The universe was creating that for me, and it was letting everything go. It doesn't mean that I still don't have crap. But it was, but that's what that's what we're trying to tell you, and what we've been trying to tell you for quite some time. Not you specifically, but the general public, is that we'll take everything. We'll take care of everything that you need if you are ready and if you ask. All you need is our help, and simply saying, I want to release this and I want to move forward. What most humans do is that they're so afraid of change or unsure of what will happen to them or who their identity will be, that they build up that wall of resistance to allow that flow and allow that frequency to come in. Does that make sense? I mean, like if there's something that, well, this is the way I've always been, I'm not changing, or I've always had this memory, I can't let it go, or if I let it go, what will happen? If I let go of believing that this is the way it is, then what am I going to believe in? What's going to happen to me? Who am I going to become? Then that creates that resistance to not allow us to be able to come in and do our work.
Okay, I do have a question now. Okay, so you say letting it go and then they will help you release it. Okay, but it's like, okay, take for instance like a dog. It wets in your floor, but then you don't see it till hours later. So then you punish the dog and put it out, but they don't really know what they're being punished for. So how are you going to release something if you don't know the cause of the problem at hand?
Because it doesn't matter. You don't have to consciously know.
Surrender.
So what the situation is that, and what we're asking you to do is to simply recognize that you're ready to move forward. You do not have to relive or to guess or to think about what has happened to you in the past. It's simply going back into that space where you can find your heart and recognize that this is where I would like to live. This is where I want to be, and this is the person that I want to become. And as you begin to recognize that this is the being that you are, and that you no longer have fear of taking a step forward, we will do all the rest. You do not have to go to counseling. You don't have to go to a psychiatrist. You don't have to go to relive past life regressions, all of that stuff that has become such a prominent fixture in your world no longer needs to be. Simply be ready to change, and that is it. All you have to do is to recognize that this is something that I would like to let go of. Please help me. As I stand within my heart and within my being, I can release this freely and willingly, and you will all assist me. And yes, we will. We will do this. You don't have to know. You don't have to get scolded for something that you did.
No, but I mean, if you don't know what you need to let go of,
The universe will take care of it.
just,
You
I will let
remember
go
me
of
saying-
everything. I mean, that seems like an empty kind of, because it's like my son saying, oh, I'm sorry, but what is he sorry for? He doesn't realize what he's sorry for or what I might be upset about. So it's kind of like you're saying, I want to let go of something, but what are you letting go of? Don't you need to kind of know what you're
No.
letting go of or what you want to let go of?
That's the divine
It's
knows.
the surrender.
And it's, all it is a choice.
not
That's
mental.
it.
Do you mean mentally no or emotionally no?
In any way.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
I mean, it's
Because you
like
can
if I'm feeling sad or something, and it's like, okay, I don't want to be sad, so I go to my heart space and I want to let that sadness go. Okay, well, that's great. Yeah, I get that part of it. But I mean, I don't know how to put into words.
Okay, what you have chosen to do is to pick a specific scenario that you have in your mind, and you're not quite sure that you're free and ready to say what your thoughts are. And that's okay, because we know. But because of your intuitiveness, you can simply ask us,
Right,
and we'll give you the answer.
right.
If you think that you need to know, or you want to know, or you want to know where it came from, all you have to do is ask us and we'll guide you. But what you have to do is that you have to recognize, and this is specifically for you, because this is your question.
Right,
Now,
absolutely.
I think that this does come up with other people too. When you are saying that you don't feel well emotionally, and you want to recognize what this situation is, you want a specific answer, and this is what your brain is telling you. You have to analyze it, and you have to go through all the steps in order to release it. What we're saying to you is that you do not need to. You don't have to you don't have to know what the issue is. You don't have to know what happened to you when you were 5 years old to make you have this reaction when you're 55
Right.
years old. It doesn't matter. You don't have to do it. What we're saying to you is let the past, the bygones be bygones. Let it go. It doesn't matter. So what we're telling you is that if you really want to analyze, if you specifically really want to analyze and you want to go back, you have the ability to ask your question and answer it for yourself. And what we request of you is that you keep a journal and that you write down the information that you have been provided so that you don't forget it.
Okay.
And then you can go back and you can they're saying relive it, but not relive the incident, but relive the answer. Because you can go back and you
Well,
can
it was just,
read
I was
it.
thinking more along the lines of like, if you keep repeating things in life and you're noticing if there's a consistent pattern, well, I want to let this pattern go, but what pattern is it really? You know what I mean? If certain circumstances keep coming up or you keep getting a certain result for something, then you're kind of like, that's what I was talking about. I was like, how do you know that you want to let go of it if you're not really sure?
Okay, you're not gonna like my answer. Okay? You're not gonna like it.
And it's fine.
Okay, so what we're trying to tell you is that with that specific scenario, it's very simple. You recognize the situation, you recognize the pattern, and again, go into your heart and recognize that you want to change. You want something to change. You want to let it go. You no longer want to live in this way. Your heart will answer you, and your heart will answer with the guidance that you need to take to be given. And again, once that vibration in that heart, see, once you stay in this heart space for the amount of time, your vibration begins to increase and shift and change, and it affects your brain. And you'll begin to recognize that all of a sudden, you don't behave the same.
Now that resonates with me because I get like the tingles when you say it, so that makes sense to me.
Okay.
Because I mean, Yeah, okay,
Okay.
that makes sense.
Okay, so it's not the point of overanalyzing a situation. It's truly being open enough to let it go and to allow us to shift and alter and change what is within your being so that you can let it go. Because everything's changing. All your cells, all your memories, everything is changing when you're in this space. And they want you to get rid of it.
Right.
We all, okay, and they're saying, you need to explain to her who we are.
Oh, boy. Okay.
Okay, and I think this is going to be a lesson for everybody. Okay, this is the way that I see. And I'm going to tell you also because, and this is my rant, because the Akashic Records have been misrepresented forever. And I'm really, it hurts my heart, truly, when people say that the Akashic Records are a fourth dimensional or fifth dimensional aspect. This is not so. It is not so. It's the knowledge and the understanding of all that is. All that is.
All dimensions.
All that is. Thank you. I love you. Okay, so this is what I see the Akashic Record as. This is the easiest way to explain it to me. Okay, so this is what I call God. This big blob. Okay? So, and within this big old blob, there are billions and billions and billions of knowledgeable beings that reside within this big concept of what God is. And within each one of these little sectors, and what I see, it's almost like they have divisions. And like each division has a specific purpose. Now this is what I'm seeing. It's not going to be for everybody, obviously, but this is how I see it. And so with all of these billions and billions and billions and billions of encountered beings, they're laughing and saying, you can pretend like we're aliens. Okay, but they're not. It's like what I see is it's like a mystic. It's like a mist or something. And like if you see fog, okay, so fog, and with each little water droplet is a conscious being. That's who's guiding me. That's who's giving me this information. And that's like what this is. So like this is a great big fog, and each little water droplet of that fog is an intelligent being that is guiding us, and that's what all this is. And then it's divided into sections. So like in each section of consciousness, there's all of these billions and billions and billions and billions of beings that reside within each one of these little sectors. And so what is being said to me, and what the consciousness of the universe all resides within this big old blob. And this is where this information is coming from. This information is coming from this.
Right.
It's not like, here's the Akashic Record segment. When people talk about the different dimensions, 1 through 12 dimensions, well, the Akashic Records is between 4 and 5. And it's like this layer of knowledge. No, that's not what it is. What it is it's at the very, 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 very top. So that how can the records know what's going on in the 12th dimension if it's not above the 12th dimension? How can they know what's going on out there if they're not above all that? It has the information of all that is and everything that exists everywhere. And so that's why this is so important, that you guys understand that when I'm talking about we are telling you, this is who's telling you. This is where this information is coming from. And they're telling me, because I've been arguing with them over the last week, and they're telling me that I'm not trusting and faithful. I don't believe what they're saying. It's my own argument, but this is why this is so important, that when we understand that when we say we will take care of it within you, it's not like I'm telling you,
Right.
Girl, I got your back, I'll take care of it, I'll just pull that little memory out of you and you'll be good. That's not what it is.
Right.
It's coming from such a high conscious level that they understand. And I'm going to start crying again because they've been telling me this for the last 2 weeks. I've really been having a lot of struggles. I'm talking about a lot of energy going on. The last 2 weeks have been crazy. But the consciousness of the universe understands where they're going and what they're doing, and they're here to help us. It's not only the aliens. It's not only the intergalactic people. They're all helping to assist, but they've all been guided as well. And so what we have to understand is that when I say to you that they're telling you, we gotcha, and if you just give me the ability to take what you do not need, I will take it from you. They will. And where all of this stuff, and apparently this is a theme, I've got to go because it's Joyce's turn. But when we're talking about, because I'm going through some cellular changes right now, and it's been a whole big deal of what's been happening with me and me trying to understand. And they keep telling me, you can't understand because your conscious mind has never experienced this. And so when we tell you that your DNA was turning this way and now it's turning this way, I can't comprehend that, because I'm like, what? When they tell you that something is changing within your cells, and they said your blood's going to change. Well, how can your blood change? I don't get it, and I don't understand it. So I'm arguing with them, and so you and I are having this conversation because I'm putting myself, it's like the lecture to myself. So there's a lot of stuff that we don't understand. And it's because, like what you were saying, if I'm repeating this pattern, well, how were you taught? How was I taught? If you're repeating the pattern, then you have to go back and look at it. You have to go back to the very beginning and figure out what made you even start this pattern. And then you have to analyze it to death. You have to blame your parents, because it's always your parents' fault. But, whatever the situation is, and you have to rehash and you have to relive until you finally come to that point of saying, okay, I forgive my parents. But this isn't the point.
Right.
This isn't how this. You don't have to do it that way.
Right.
And that's what they're saying, is that it's so much easier than what we've done and what we've created. That it simply is just saying, I give up.
That was kind of like the old paradigm.
Exactly.
The way old spirituality used to be. It doesn't have to be like that.
And that's
When I
what's
think
changing.
of the Akashic Records,
Akashic.
Records, what I think of is that it does exist in all dimensions,
does.
and well past the 12 that we are aware of.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, we don't know how many dimensions there
Right,
actually are.
right.
Yeah.
but where it exists on all those different
It does.
planes, all those different vibrations, but it's all right here.
It is.
At any time for us to tap into by increasing our vibration to...
And the more that we increase our vibration, and when we start vibrating at that higher frequency, that's why the
Do you
enlightened
tap into
beings.
different cells
No.
then? Or? No, you're just...
What I get and what I see, it's the stream coming down to me. So it's the stream that's going through all of the dimensions that comes to me. So from the very, very tip top, way up there as
So
far
that's how
as you
you
can go.
visualize it. You
Yeah,
see it.
I see
Okay.
it very clearly.
I kind of
And
feel it like it's just...
and this is why it's so important to stay grounded and to stay here on Earth and not go traveling out all over everywhere else. And we keep doing the exercises when they've been telling from the very, the first class that we've done, is that what a big problem is that we're leaving our body and we're out there traveling around, when the way that God's information comes to you is that it comes to you. You don't go to it. And so this is why this is so hard, and this is also a new concept, because we're taught to go traveling. We want to go
projection.
out, we want to experience all the different dimensions and what's out there and whatever. And again, that's an old way of thinking. When what the universe wants you to do is stay planted, stay right here, stay on the ground, and we'll give the information to you. Everything that you need to know, it comes straight down and it comes into you. And this is why it is so extremely important that you are whole, you're all put together, you're all one being, and you're not here and you're not here. Because how is that going to work to get the information? They're going to come down and all these little branches come out to get all 5 of you?
Right.
No, they want you all together and as whole. And so when we talk about doing these meditations and these groundings, and Joyce is getting ready I'm running over her time, when she does her thing, it's just really important that you recognize that you have got to stay in your body. Your spirit has to stay in your body, in this body, because what is changing is everything that is in us. This is how we're going to hold that vessel of light. And we have to be able to carry that spirit. And we have to be able to carry that spirit at its highest vibration. In order for it to do that, we have to be at our highest vibration. And the only way that we can do it is to be whole and complete. Can't be 15 different places, because it won't work. Apparently, that's what they're saying. So got a little bit off track with my rant. Okay, so the next thing is, this is just the beginning. It is the process of conditioning and allowing yourself to be whole again. But once you regain the knowledge and understanding of peace, love, and happiness, it will become the new normal condition. How do you do this? This question will be answered in class. I think I just answered it. Okay, now the last thing on the second page, it says retaining cellular memory as well. Okay, so examples. Okay, so injuries, mental thought, past memories. It's important to remember bodily injuries and disease are also significant. Release all forms of protection, mental and physical. Okay, so as we go through experiences, and the easiest thing to relate to is a broken heart. So you got hurt by somebody and your heart's broken, so you put up that barrier and you block your heart so that you don't get hurt again. Okay, so same things, you start blocking off your body. So let's say you had an experience and you broke your ankle. So then you start protecting that ankle and you block it off from being normal, productive way that it would normally be. So when they're talking about being familiar with your whole body and being whole, make sure that any type of injury that you've had, anything that may be a disease or something that you've had, recognize that that's all of your body. It's still part of being in your body, because when you have those things, it's easy to detach from it and you become away from that. You need to pull it back in and you recognize that it is whole and that it's part of you as well. So when you're doing these exercises, when they're saying specifically, like when you're finding your heart and you're letting that energy vibrate through your being, whatever part has been diseased or injured, make sure that that vibration goes through that place as well, and that you become fully acquainted and aware of any place that could be at fault. Okay, at fault meaning that it's been hurt or damaged, not that it's done anything wrong. Okay? Does that make sense? Any questions? Are we good on this one?
Feel
Okay.
the pain?
It's not the point of feeling the pain, it's the point of recognizing that it's part of your body. Okay, so like the way that people deal with pain. A lot of times if you're in an acute pain or you have chronic pain, guess what you do? You leave your body because you don't want to live in it anymore. So that's why it's important for you to be in your body, but recognize that it's part of you and whole. And again, the cellular activity that is changing and shifting will gain knowledge and information to treat that area to where that it'll be whole again as well. Okay, so my ego is like, okay, so like if somebody has a chronic injury, then it's going to get better. And they're saying it simply can. It can simply be able to regenerate and re-establish itself as a whole again, being as whole, being as part of you again, so that you can move forward in your life being one and being one at all. Now that also, it doesn't mean that you'll be able to walk completely normal if, like with Joyce's ankle, it may be something like you still have a little bit of a gimp because of what it is, but the cellular activity around it will re-enlighten, because right now it's a dead place, like it's dark, and so it needs to be light again. And so as you do this, when you send that vibration through your body, make sure that it's included in those areas that have been damaged, which you're going to do that with your chest area, which is also significantly important because of the heart and the space, and this is part of it, and you're going to have to keep it healthy with that light, so that it doesn't become like what I'm seeing is just a dead spot. It's like a black spot, and so you need to reassociate with it, in any type of injury. Okay, does that help, Zara? Did that answer the question? Okay. Okay, so I'm saying, is there any other questions? And they're saying, no, you need to move on. Joyce needs to get her part started. I'm sorry.
I'm fine. I'm gonna have everybody just stand up for a minute and just kind of shake off.
Oops, I'm sorry.
Get the
Shake your
blood
body,
flow
get
going,
the
blood
blood
flowing.
Kind of breathe a little, take all that in. I don't mean to erase the good sentence, but
Go ahead.
I love this shirt. It's such a gorgeous color. Huh? Oh, she's been diagnosed. So it'll be okay. Yeah, yeah. It's not invasive, not aggressive, so it's good.
good.
Thank you.
Yeah, me too. Sentinel.
For those chairs, just do that. Back to bring that pillow.
I turn the air down now, I'm hot, and I know you guys are cold, putting on jackets, so. We're gonna do a couple of little exercises while you're standing up. I call this, Carla McLaren calls this free-flowing sadness, actually. We're gonna work on moving into the heart in just a minute. But she uses a technique where you breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. And that's just releasing anything in our body and in our tissue that we want to let go of. So just take a deep breath, breathe in and blow it out. That's the beginning. And then this time, as you breathe in, you're going to make a sound as you breathe out. Intending that anything, all that stagnant energy, because you've been sitting still for a little bit, that's stuck in your body, we're just going to release it and let it go. Breathing in, and let it out. Next part is to shake your body a little bit, because that kind of gets all that energy, that stagnant energy flowing in your body. Breathe in, blow out, make a sound, shake your body. Ready? Blow out. I usually have, that's one of the reasons I stood up a minute ago, because it's like I could feel all this energy in the room. Can anybody else feel the amount of energy that's going on in this room tonight? It's amazing. So, yeah, I was like, oh, my body can't sit there and take it in. It has to shake and move. One more technique, and this is something you can do when you're ever feeling stressed, is go to the bathroom, kind of do it without making a whole lot of noise, but it helps kind of move that energy through, because what happens is our brain keeps going and we're not in our heart, and so all the stress is going, and this helps move it more, keep you more in the body. So the last technique is you do all those things that we just did, and you stick your tongue out and you go blah. Ready? Breathe in. And then just take a note. How does your body feel different? Your body is your monitor, remember? That's what we started with. Your body is your monitor. Anybody feel different? A little bit? 50? All right, you can go ahead and sit down. How many of you are familiar with heart math? Yay, I know a lot of you that are. We're going to talk about some of the techniques and some of the information, because that's actually when Lisa and I started getting together and talking about these classes that we were going to do, and this one came up, I had already scheduled this Saturday Connie Baker, who is going to do a presentation on heart math. She's very well adept in it and has training in it and a lot of information. So I'm just going to throw that out first. The other thing I wanted to mention, JP, because I didn't want to forget, I meant to tell this earlier. JP wrote a poem about the ego from last week. They're over there on the table, so make sure you get one before you go. I meant to tell you that at the very beginning, so plug that in there. So heartmath.org has been around for 30 some years probably, and they've done tons of research on what Lisa's actually been talking about and staying in the heart. And they have a technique called heart coherence. The teacher in me, I guess, has to write things down. Sorry. Heart coherence. It's very, very important. And what they teach is being able to stay in that heart space And they even have programs that they teach to children in schools. And if they can learn to stay in that heart coherent space, they do better on test scores because you're not up in your head, you're more relaxed, you're more in that heart kind of space. And so what we're going to do is kind of learn a little bit of those steps. And what they teach a 3-step method, which is just as easy as what we just did. Because I know a lot of people say, stay in your heart, stay in your heart, stay in your heart. And it's like, if you're like me, your heart's been covered for a really long time, and so it's been hard to kind of uncrust all of those things. And so that's kind of what she's talking about and what we're doing, and being able to find that space in your heart if it's more difficult for you than maybe some people that can just go there automatically. So the heart breath is really what they call heart coherence. They actually have, and I assume Connie will talk about that on Saturday. They have a biofeedback program that you can actually attach to your phone that lets you know when you are in heart coherence. I used to have one on my computer when I started studying this years ago, and I worked with it with clients for a while. But now they have it on the phone, and you hook it up to your ear, and it basically lets you know when the whole idea is that your brain and your heart are beating and are in a certain kind of rhythm. In other words, when you're in your head, they can check your heart, and it's usually a little chaotic, the rhythm of the heartbeat. But when the heart and the breath are in coherence, then the rhythm is really smooth, and so it can give you a feedback of, wow, I'm in that space or I'm not in that coherent space. Because when I first started looking at it, I thought, I'm in my heart, I meditate all the time, I'm really good at this, and so I got my little feedback form, my little thing I put on my computer, and then started doing Kriya yoga meditation, way out there, and I'm in my, well, what's going on? This isn't working. So basically, it taught me and helped me to bring all of that energy that, we love to be in out there, bring it more into the body and into the heart space, okay? So they teach it in 3 different steps, and there's tons of this on the web. That's why I put that up there. TheHeartMath.com is a lot of information and about some of their studies, but basically it has also some of the equipment and it teaches the techniques and different things. TheHeartMath.org is all of the studies and a lot of information that they've been doing for 20-some years, not only with individuals, but with groups of individuals and with the world in particular, in measuring the coherence of a group of people, like when there's, the bombing or something major happens, or like when the Twin Towers hit. They can measure the vibration and the heart coherence of that particular community. So there's tons of research on what they've done and the power of what it can be to just be in that heart space. And so the other thing is, it's not necessarily a meditation technique. We're going to be doing a little bit of meditation here in a minute, but the heart coherence is something that they suggest you're able to walk around in. You're able to move. It's kind of like when I was in martial arts and you learn to be in the heart, and then they said, okay, now walk around while you're in the heart space, and you're like, I don't know. You've done that too. It's kind of like, and so this is kind of the same way. Once you learn that technique and you learn to kind of come to your heart space more, then it's something you can do without your eyes closed, and you should be able to do it at any time. When I'm feeling a particular emotion or whatever, be able to kind of move into that. So these are the 3 steps. Simple as, first of all, when you find yourself being stressful, slow your breath down. Because a lot of times when we're stressed, we come up like this and we shut off our breath and the whole bit. So the first step is just, you can write these down if you want. They're real simple. I think you can remember them. Is just to slow the breath down. Slow down the breath. Okay. And then the next thing, I'm going to give you the steps and then we're going to do them, is to imagine that you're breathing, instead of breathing in through your lungs, imagine that the energy is coming into your heart as you breathe. And they say breathe in and out through the heart. And that works for some people. for me, because I'm so far out there, or used to be, I learned to breathe in through the heart, and then as I breathe out, to imagine it going down into my feet. Because what it does for me is it brings all of that energy that's way up here, because I have that characteristic, is it brings it more down into my body, my whole body. So either way that works for you, they recommend breathing in and out through the heart. And if you can feel that energy in the heart, like Lisa says, then that's great. If you need to, and you can try it a couple of different ways when we do it here in a minute. Breathe it in through the heart and out through your feet, or just kind of down. Kind of brings it more into this area is what we're doing. You're focusing on, again, the heart space. And then the last thing that the third step is, they say to bring in appreciation, gratitude, a positive emotion. Sometimes that's hard for people. I see. Yeah, it is for me too. So what you can do is you can imagine a time when as Lisa just said earlier, you can imagine a time that was, important in your life, or you can imagine a pet. Sometimes I get my grandkids' pictures in my mind. But the idea is not to keep the picture out here, the image out here, their experience. You need to bring it into your heart and to feel it. The key is to be able to feel it, because you don't want to stay back up in your head once you image something. So you're going to slow your breath. You're going to breathe in and out through the heart. And then you're going to bring in a feeling of appreciation or gratitude or love, or get an image of something that lets your heart experience that particular feeling. Okay? Any questions on that? So we're going to first do it with our eyes closed. So everybody you can put your things down for a minute. And we'll experience that. So go ahead and close your eyes. And just kind of slow your breath down as it recommends. Slow your energy down. And then imagine that the energy as you breathe in is coming into your heart, and either back out your heart as you breathe out. It's going in and out through your heart, or in through the heart and out through your feet. So you're kind of feeling this whole energy around your heart space. Let's do that for a little bit before we add an image. Your body again is your monitor, noticing what's happening in the body as you do this. And then bring in a feeling of appreciation or gratitude, or an image that makes you feel happy and peaceful and loving. Just a positive kind of feeling in the heart. Noting what happens in the body. Body is your monitor. Your heart is your monitor. What's happening in the heart? Are you having difficulty? Is it coming easy? Is it a little harder? Just following it. There's no right or wrong. You're just using it as a monitor. What happens when you allow that energy to expand around the heart, and you feel that expansion of that love and gratitude and appreciation? Can you feel it in the whole sensorium, is what we call the whole body, just in the heart space? Can you allow it to expand and get even bigger? And now just kind of experiment with opening your eyes a little bit and kind of looking around and seeing if you can still stay in that heart coherence. You can still feel your heart and that sensation of love and gratitude. some people call it, let your heart smile, maybe. Whatever works, whatever image works for you. Begin to try and kind of open your eyes maybe and see if you can keep your eyes open and still feel that heart coherence. Close your eyes again and just kind of connect again. It's almost a surrender, a letting go, bringing the energy into the body, connecting with the heart. Then open your eyes again when you're ready. And maybe move around a little, move your arms or stand up. Just kind of seeing if you can stay in that heart center and also move around. So how are we doing? Is it easy? Is it hard? Easy? Good. Good. So what are the differences you notice when you're in heart coherence? It can be different for different people.
Everything just slows down.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Anybody else want to share what they're experiencing in their body? Different body sensations.
Yeah, I tingle.
Yeah.
Excitement.
Especially let my crown down.
Right.
Tingles.
Right. Right.
What's happening,
Mm-hmm.
they have done MRIs or brain scans on monks. And monks stay in the gamma
Mm-hmm.
wavelength like all the time.
Right.
This exercise you're doing right now, it is connecting the heart to the brain through the breath,
Exactly.
slowing your breathing,
Yep.
literally creating new neural pathways to the brain.
Exactly.
Every time you do this exercise, you put yourself into that gamma.
Mm-hmm.
Over the course of 3 days of doing this 4 to 5 times a day, you can create a brand new pathway to your brain
Right.
that will put you in a gamma state, like the monks. So this is beautiful. This is amazing.
Good. HeartMath's been doing it, and they probably learned it from the monks because they've been doing it for a lot longer. Another thing about the heart is your heart, they've discovered, has cells of its. I feel like I'm just echoing. Is that too loud? The heart has its own cells, brain cells. And actually, if you follow the life of a fetus, the heart is the first part that is formed when the eggs come together. And from the heart, then the brain and the rest of the body begins to develop, the spine and everything. But the heart is the very first part. It's that very first important part. And so they're discovering that, it's not our brain that we should be following, basically. It's these cells in our heart, as you said, that's sending information to the brain and then back and forth and giving you more information than what this brain can do. Because remember, as we talked about last week, when the ego, the mental field, which is a part of the ego, is just one part of us. So when we spend all that time thinking and analyzing and trying to figure things out, you're only using a part of who you are. You're not using the physical, the emotional, the spiritual, which is it's all connected here. Because as we said, they all collapse. The upper level of the field and the lower level of the field collapse into the heart space. It's all right here. This is who you are. That's what Lisa's saying. Any questions? Okay, one more time. Just stand up and see if you can find your heart space, that heart coherence. Breathe, maybe move around a little bit. First of all, just kind of close your eyes and get in touch with it. Know the difference in what your body feels like. That's what the biofeedback thing would do on your phone, but once you can figure it out in your body, then you don't need that. You know when you're there. You know what it feels like. When you're ready, kind of open your eyes, look around, move if you want to, see how that feels, or not. Either way is fine. So now I'm going to really test you. So I want you to close your eyes and think of maybe something that's stressful or negative or that's maybe causing some problems in hopefully your life is stress-free. Think of something that might trigger a little bit. And just kind of think of that for a minute and see where that takes you in your body. And then after you kind of get a sense of that, like as Lisa said, we don't have to go into it, but then bringing your energy back to your heart and see how easy that is or how hard it is or how quickly you can do it or how just kind of practice with that and being able to come back to that space in the heart after, somebody cuts you off on the highway or whatever triggers you. Kind of play with that a little bit for just a minute. And think of something stressful for a minute. See where you feel that in the body. Is it in your belly? Is it in your knees? Is it in your head? Where do you feel that? That's kind of that everyday living situation. And then when you're ready, see if you can bring it back to your heart space and let that other dissipate. The other emotion of stress. And as Lisa said earlier, it doesn't always have to be, I'm in this ecstatic joy kind of place. It can just be a place of contentment. Coherence of being in the heart and just being content with where you are also. You don't have to be ecstatic all the time. You can just be peaceful. Okay, go ahead and have a seat. We'll see if there's any questions before we go to the next part. How are we doing?
Okay.
Oh, good? Feels like something you can work on and something you can practice and something you can do? Good. So the next part we're going to do is kind of a combination of what we've been doing through the meditations, and it's going to be more of a meditative kind of thing of going into the heart and allowing anything that needs to be cleared to clear from the heart space. Okay. So you might want to get in a comfortable position. I'm going to get my bowl just to get us started here. Get in a comfortable position where you can kind of go inside, really deeper inside than just the heart coherence. Because as I said, the heart coherence really isn't a meditation. It's a way of living, as you said. Of living in that heart space and knowing how to get to that peaceful place, even when you're stressful and even when life is a little bit crazy. There's, what I'm thinking of is years ago my house was blown away by a tornado, and I was probably the last one to get to the house. Everybody else was there, all my neighbors and relatives and things, and they were all stressful. And I had a sense of knowing that everything happens for a reason. And there was a peace about it, even though in spite of all of the chaos and everything that was going on, it's just, and I don't know that the heart coherence was
where I was at, even though I had studied it and I knew it. I'd also studied the horror line and other things in the Barbara Brennan stool. That's an interesting. Barbara Brennan school. Of just being in that centered kind of place and knowing that everything happened for a reason. And even a good friend of mine, a week or two later, she said, well, you're eventually going to collapse. You're just too calm about all of this. But I knew there was a purpose behind it. And eventually, obviously, I got to build a nice little pool center off the back of my house at the time. So I just knew it all happened for a reason. And when you can stay in that heart space, even in spite of all of the chaos around you, you're just being guided, and that's what we're meant to do as we move to the fifth dimension. Okay, so close your eyes and just kind of connect with your heart and I'm going to do some toning and some sounding just to kind of help us kind of go deeper inside. So as you're in that heart space, since we've worked with the core star, if you know how to do that one, you can also add that to that heart space. Add that dimension. It's feeling it on many dimensions. And put yourself in the Merkaba if you want to. You don't have to. You can just stay in the heart space, whichever works for you. It's kind of holding it all at once. Multi-dimensional core of who you are, because you're all of it. Your heart holds it all, so it's all there in the heart. But if you want to focus on the core star or the Merkaba or anything else that's a part of that, that's okay too. So kind of center in that heart space. Feel that vibration in the heart, the body. And what I want to take you back to is that infant, that little one, whatever age pops up. It can be in utero, it can be an infant, it can be ages 2 through 10. Just get an image of you as a small child. And even though we're not going to bring up a lot of the memories, just see a time maybe when the child was not getting the amount of love that he or she needed. The time might be when he or she was feeling distress. And what we're going to do is give him or her exactly what she needed. If you want to put an image with it, you can. As Lisa said, you don't have to. You can just feel the vibration and that. Maybe just seeing that little one at whatever stage release and let go of some of the stress or the unhappiness or the stressful time that was in their life. Or if you want to see the adult you going in and sitting and being with that child part of yourself, whatever it is that you need, and you can ask the child, what is it that you need right now? Do you just need to feel the love from my heart, from our hearts? Because you're both all integrated into who you are. So just spend some time with that little one, whatever age he or she is, giving him or her exactly what they need, what they didn't get. That reprograms not only the heart, but the synapses in the brain and that connection, so that if there are blockages in the heart, allow that to dissipate so that you can have more of your heart connection. Let me just give you a few minutes to kind of work with that on your own. Just let the whole body be immersed in the love that is in your heart. You and that little one and all ages of you. And again, it's not only seeing the images out there, it's bringing it into the system, into the body, feeling the sensations, whether that's tingly, energy flowing, maybe just a peacefulness, a loving energy. Everybody feels it differently. There's no right or wrong way. And again, feeling it in every cell of your body, if that's what feels right for you. As we did with the core stars, feeling that vibration, that sense of love in every cell as it's shifting and changing and we're growing into this fifth dimensional being of love and light. I read something the other day that said when we're full of the light, we have no need for pain. Pain has been our teacher. We no longer need that. We can still use it, yes. It's still going to come up because we're in this earthly plane. But tap into this heart, this connection, and let the other dissipate. Feel that vibration in our body as much as possible, again and again and again, reprogramming all those cells as the beings help us. And so when you're ready, even again from this place with your high vibration and your heart connection, and in this place, see it, because we didn't go anywhere, we didn't go out of the body, hopefully we stayed in the body. You can again begin to kind of open your eyes a little bit and see what it's like to look around and still stay in that vibrational place. Bring that little one with you if you need to. The little part of you. Integrate it into the heart. And when you're ready, you can begin to open your eyes and see if you can stay in this place as much as possible. This may be something you may want to spend some more time with, working with those little ones, those little parts of yourself that are still needing some love and attention. So how was that for everyone? Any thoughts or?
I liked it.
Let's turn all this off before it blocks and everything.
I thought it was amazing.
Good.
It totally resonates with me.
Good. Yeah. If you're available Saturday morning, I recommend you come to the Heart Math presentation with Connie Baker. She's well studied it and it will give you more information and more about the biofeedback if you're interested in that. I think the little adapter that goes to your phone or to your iPad or computer is like, I think, $150 now. But it's Bluetooth, so you can use it with lots of different things if you're interested in that. I think what you did this evening, you probably got a taste of it without maybe the biofeedback, because the whole idea is being able to feel it and know when you're in that heart coherence and when you're in that place. Know how to bring yourself back to that place as much as possible. Yeah.
What time?
10 o'clock, 10 to 12, Saturday morning. Yeah. Cool. Anybody else?
Maybe just show up.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't have to register.
Okay.
Around here, we don't register. I know a lot
Okay.
of people register. We just show up, play your donate. And in fact, she's just doing it for a donation because she has a practice and she has clients, and so kind of letting people know about her too. So it's kind of a win-win.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I actually have one of their tools, not the one that goes into the phone, but the one that's freestanding.
Oh yeah, yeah. The NU, I think is what they call it.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
have one of those, but I mean, I don't use it. I know
Well,
I should, but
and I think that's it. If you don't have someone to practice with, see, I actually went to a conference in New Jersey when I first started studying it. Doc Childers is the one that wrote. He has books and all the information that studied it. But yeah, if you don't have anybody to show you how to do it and know when you're there, it can get a little bit frustrating, and you just go, forget that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I did that at first too.
So I think I'll bring my tool.
Yeah, she'll be able to help you with it. Yeah.
That's really awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I do have a question when
Okay.
you're talking about going back to the little girl or the little me.
Right?
There's so much of my childhood that I don't remember. I'm struggling trying to find.
The thing is,
An
you don't
image.
have, don't try and go to your memory bank. Don't try and go to your brain. Stay in your heart, stay in your body, stay in your space, and see what image comes up. It may not even be a true image. And of course, we're getting into images and records are saying, forget about all that stuff, but we're still partly in that too, which I totally understand, because that's the work that I do, is tapping into the body and the images that come up, whatever it is. And maybe there's, you have this beautiful heart and there's nothing to clear.
Well,
there,
every
you know?
image that came up was of a photograph of
Okay,
me.
and that's okay too.
I mean, that's what I could pull
Right.
out was just
Right.
I know that picture, so I
Right?
tried to force myself to see myself at that age moving around, and I just.
That's okay. You can work with the picture. You don't. I have a picture too. Actually, I have a picture in my house that kind of sits there to remind me to work with my child, which I've done for a long time. And yeah, it can be a picture. And sometimes, for me, an image would come up that I don't even know if it was for real or not, but it was representative of something that I needed to clear or work on. It's like, I could see myself hiding under a table, and it's like I wanted to hide and get away from everybody, which is one of the ways I coped with stress and, in the family. And so then it's talking with her and saying, what is it that you need? Well, when the adult me can go in there and give her the love that she needed at that time, the attention that she didn't get in a household of, so many kids. And the key thing, again, is not only seeing it, but feeling in the body. When I can allow that little one to feel that, and maybe you don't have to have an image. Maybe it's just seeing the picture and allowing her to feel that love that maybe she didn't get or whatever that is.
I kind of concluded trying to find different levels. Kind of stuck with about 14-year-old, but
Right.
the overall census was, hang in there, you're going to do it.
Yeah, and so it's not trying to make it happen, it's allowing it. Just allow any images to come. If no images come, then it's okay too. Maybe that's not a skill or something that works for you.
It has in the past, but yeah, tonight it was a
Okay,
little different.
that's okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Good question. Thank you because what we do is throwing out all kinds of opportunities and ways. Next Monday night I will be doing a meditation class. This Monday night was the new moon, but the next 2 Monday nights then we'll be doing reinforcing some of the skills that we've used. So a Monday and the following 2 Mondays, the second and third Monday of the month. And then Lisa and I will be in 2 weeks from tonight. We'll be doing the 4th one, and then the last the last Tuesday, because we're cramming it all in the month of June, so we don't have to go over. And there's 3 times we'll be doing the
Tuesday?
peace, love, and happiness. What are we calling it? Event. So yeah. So it'll be the 2 weeks, and then the last one. It was like 2 weeks in a row on a Tuesday. There's a calendar over there too. Grab one. Anybody else want to share any questions you got?
That's wonderful, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for coming. All right. Anything else you want to add, Lisa, before we close? Dr. Wonder.
This is all of this time as you have all gone into the future with new days ahead of you. You'll begin to see the shift and the changing within your own being when you least expect it. There'll be sharp images of what has changed within you at the right in the precise moments. You will all move forward into the light of consciousness as you have chosen to do so. And we are grateful and appreciative for all that you do. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for each of you for coming. See ya. See you later.